Greetings, folks. Welcome back to the Jason Damico Show, and we got a very special guest for you, as always. Our guest has been in the music business for 40 years as a producer, engineer, and manager. He relocated to the Triangle in 1982 from South Carolina, opened M80 Management back in 85. He's had a reputation for sharp, honest, and no punches, pulled advice and counsel, which has earned him the Dream Assassin nickname. Over the years, he's had to wear about as many hats as there are to wear in the music business. Besides being a manager, producer, engineer, booking agent, publicist, promoter, tour manager, sound man, travel agent, he's also a babysitter, transmission repairman, radio promoter. He's currently co-owning and the chief engineer at the legacy Osceola Studios, where he's worked since 2001. He's worked with incredible names, Hootie and the Blowfish, Lindsey Sterling, Jason Michael Carroll, Clay Aiken, Corrosion of Conformity, Leonard Skinnard, and many, many more. Please welcome to the show, Dick Hodgin. It's good to see you, my friend.
I'm looking at a camera, so nice to see you, man. I mean, this is kind of weird. I mean, I looked at some of the other interviews, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm going to be just on a camera. I don't even have a good mic to talk into, so.
Well, we're trying to abide by whatever these regulations are these days. Strange times. I don't know how it is for you over where you're at, but
we're down. I mean, we're down according to the governor. Stay at home, and we're not an essential business, and everybody's afraid to be around everybody. I don't blame them. Social distancing, hard to do in the studio because I don't have a giant studio, so, and everybody wants to be in the control room with me when I'm doing whatever. I've done since we closed up, I did some podcasting, editing, and I've done a book editing, and I've done some online mixing and things like that, but pretty much nobody's coming in. I have one guy, one of my co-producers, he comes in, he's out there, I'm in here, he does his thing out there, he lays bass tracks and stuff like that, and sings and everything's out there. He doesn't come in here. And so it's clunky, but you can get work done. You can get work done. I'm doing some tape transfers. I've got a lot of old ADATs and stuff like that I've do tape transfers with and things. So I'm trying to stay busy, but everybody's waiting. Everybody's waiting to see what the fuck, and I have no idea. It's not like I can say, yeah, well, back in 76, we had this same thing happen and everybody got sick and nobody wanted to talk. Oh, no, that was because of the record business. We didn't really have a pandemic shit. It was kind of, so there's nothing to reach back. There's no history to look back on and say, oh, my God, this is what we should do, or this is how we can kind of maybe see it coming around. Because, this will be a bummer for a lot of people, but as far as I can see, man, until there's a treatment, okay? Until there's a real treatment to where you get it, take this medicine, stay home for 5 days, you won't go to the hospital and you won't die, or a vaccine, I mean, I don't see how anything's going to go back to normal, whatever people's idea of normal was.
I saw on the news, they just started phase 1 in Florida. Now, granted, I don't know when this episode will be out, probably a couple of weeks after the are capturing right now. But restaurants are, 15% capacity, nobody's showing up. So that if it tells you that much just in the service industry, then it's going to be similar with the music industry and live shows.
I mean, when are you going to feel comfortable going to see some favorite band and being around, being in a small room with 300 people, being in a large room with 1,000 people? When are you going to feel comfortable doing that? When are you going to feel comfortable going to a basketball game with 12,000, 15, 20,000 people, you know, and going to get the pizza at the thing and having a Coke and, you know, parking your car, everything. When are you going to feel comfortable? I don't know that I'm going to feel comfortable. You're a young man. If you get it, you're probably going to survive. Okay. Older people, such as myself, we have less chance. I don't really want to get it. So I'm going to probably take maybe a little bit more precaution than someone who's as young as yourself, or even, you know, kids aren't getting it as frequently or as bad. And when I say kids, I'm talking about 10-year-olds. You know, they're not really picking up on it the way adults are. And everything has to do with pre-existing conditions and how you've lived your life, and whether you've got diabetes or smoked all your life, or, you know, other things. So all of that is in play, and there's no way to tell the future.
Yeah.
Yay. How you feel now? Hey, you have a puffy light behind you.
Yeah.
I have three puffy lights out in the I don't know if you can see out there.
Woo!
Puffy lights are awesome, dude.
Puff.
Puffy lights are awesome. They're like lava lights. They have a mood.
Nice natural tungsten light. But the reality is I've got two freaking beams of fluorescent coming at me in soft boxes.
I don't have any fluorescent. I'm that's like light to a vampire over here, man. I don't want any fluorescent lights.
Yeah,
so.
it's only for video millennial type of shooting, which I guess is this. But I enjoy this a lot. I've used this actually quite often on close-ups and music videos, and it works very well.
Yep.
So let's get into your beginning stages. As much or a little information as you want to dive into. I thought it was really interesting how you started out as a manager or with a management firm before really opening up Osceola. But if you want to dive back even before that, beginning influences.
Well, I mean, I got my start down in South Carolina back in the 70s, and I mean, I graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering, and went out into the world and did package engineering is what I got into for a good while, almost 10 years. And I'd love to say that, oh, I hated that job. I had to get out of it. I had to find something, but I liked my job, and I made some fat money at it. And it was fun to me, because I always, as a kid and growing up, I always wanted to know how things were made. I loved going to the Coca-Cola bottling plant when you're in the second grade and seeing the conveyors and all that stuff. I thought that was stuff that was awesome. Yeah. That was cool shit. And so went into mechanical engineering, got out, went into package engineering. One reason is because you get to go to everybody's plant and see their manufacturing process, because you're going to be doing packaging for them. So that was cool. But all the time, I mean, I was in bands myself. I was in a band in my teen years, and went through a couple of different phases and stuff. And then when I was about 18, I mean, I played guitar and sang, and then when I was about 18, I realized I didn't have any fucking talent. and the reason chicks were coming to our show was because we were a bunch of good-looking teenage guys in a band. It wasn't because we were good songwriters, or, I was a great singer or a great guitar player or anything. I mean, it was fun, and we had a lot of fun, but it got to the point where when I graduated from high school and got into anti-war efforts in Columbia, South Carolina, before I was going into college and stuff like that, protesting the Vietnam War. I was very into the anti-war movement and stuff. But going into there, I kind of let the music slip by, got into other stuff. So when I got out of college, got into the mechanical engineering and packaging design system and everything. But all the time I was doing that, I always hung out with band people, hung out with musicians, hung out at clubs, going to see bands and stuff like that. So, but then what happened is I ran into some people who really did have talent, who really could sing and really could play and could write some damn good songs. And I'm sitting there going, well shit, I can practice 10 hours a day for the next year. I'm never gonna be that guy. I'm never gonna be that ever. Um, and that's not to poo-poo hard work and trying to get better. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I realized I did not have the aptitude to play like those people. Players, singers, special people in this business, they've got something extra. They've got something extra that hard work helps, but it doesn't produce. And so it's the kind of thing where I always hung out with those people. Well, one of the bands that I was hanging out with was a band called Moon Pie, and they had a church that they had, old rundown church that they rented and stuff. And I would go to shows and everything. And Gerald, the lead singer, said, "Hey man, why don't you be our manager? You're organized and you know what you're doing, and you're cool and you're smart and you understand people." And I'm like, "Huh, what does a manager do?" And he said, "Well, that's the guy that tells everybody what to do." I said, "Hey, I'm your guy. I'm your guy." And so what I did is I started going to the shows with the band as a kind of not a member, but I mean, I went and talked to the club owner and got the money and got everything squared away and stuff, and started to learn the music business. This was mid 70s, late 70s. And I would go and I would say, "Oh God, dude, that sound guy, he just killed you. That sucked. That was horrible." And they were like, "Well, why don't you do something about it? Fix it." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know how to fix it." And they said, "Well, why don't you learn how to fix it?" So I set to work using their old little PV console and stuff and learning about microphones, and this plugs into this and that plugs into this, and oh shit, turn that back down because that's awful. I mean, trial and error, but I got to set up in a kind of a club-like situation. And then I kind of got good doing that. And then I started going out and I was like, oh shit, we're on a completely different system. This is not sounding like what I'm used to. So learned how to take things on the run, and got pretty good doing that. And then I started bitching about their records and their recordings that they were making. And they were like, "Well, why don't you go to the studio with us?" And I'm like, "Sure, I'll do that." And I walked in the studio and I found out, just like walking into a live sound gig, that shit's harder than it looks, you know? And so, but I was really drawn to that. I was really drawn to that and drawn to being able to sculpt and blend and capture. So I set up a studio at my house, little studio in my house, and bought some microphones and a little 4-track reel-to-reel deck, and just started teaching myself reading back when there were these things called books where you had to actually look and see the print in your eyes, and didn't go in the back of your head like Neo, I mean, it just like you had to actually absorb in that way information about what to do and stuff, and listening to other people's records and things. So started doing more of that, getting better at that. Then the band Moon Pie wound up coming up to Raleigh, North Carolina in 1981, and opened up a few big shows here, got to meet some people. And it was kind of like when we got here, this was a real music scene coming from Podunk, South Carolina, okay, where a big crowd was 50 people, okay, coming up here and seeing in the old Cameron Village subway 600 people in line to see a show at 5 o'clock in the afternoon to go see a band, a local band.
Wow.
It's kind of like, holy shit.
Wow.
This is different. This is a music scene. So Moon Pie played, they got great response. Everybody said, "You guys need to move up here." And I'm like, "Hey, that sounds cool." So I think we did about 3 or 4 gigs as opening acts at the pier. And finally Gerald said, I'm moving to Raleigh. And I'm like, dude, that makes a lot of sense. He said, you're coming with me. You're quitting that fucking engineering job and you're coming with me. And I'm like, yeah, I'll get back to you on that, bud. You know? And it was the kind of thing where I knew something was going on, because I want to tell you this story. I wasn't a really big Bruce Springsteen fan, but Gerald and a few other people talked me into going to see him in Columbia, South Carolina. We were living up in Greenville at the time. Talked me into going to see Bruce. I mean, I liked his records, you know, that was fun. Talked me into going to see him at the Township Auditorium on the Darkness on the Edge of Town tour. Okay. It was probably a venue that held maybe 4,000 people. It was half full. But that concert changed my life. And I walked out of there plotting my escape from corporate America. I knew that I could do corporate America, but I was going to be that guy that was 50 years old in corporate America hating my life. And I was not going to waste it. I was going to do something in music. Now, it took me a few years to get it together, and all of this stuff happening with moving up in Raleigh and stuff. It took me a few years to get that going. And then one day I just woke up and I said, fuck it. I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to move to Raleigh. And we were kind of fortunate because there was I don't know if you remember, you're not old enough to remember, there was a record store chain called Record Bar that was based in Durham. Huge national chain, a lot of money back when people bought these plastic things that you put on a turntable and spin, stick a needle down on it, stuff like that. It's called records.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
People say record producer. You might not know where that term comes from.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, that thing,
I think they call it now, they call it something cool. They call it vinyl.
Ah.
And named it after that TV show, you know.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, about the third or fourth time we came up here, the head of that label, the Record Bar had a little label called Dolphin Records. They said, hey, we'll sign our own bands and make our own records. We got tons of money. Cool. All right. So we came up, and the head of that label saw Moon Pie and really dug him and said, we want to offer you guys a record deal. I'm like, fuck, a record deal. Wow, am I dreaming? Did God up and say, hey, I wonder what I'm going to do for Dick Hodgin today? You know, it's kind of like, that was amazing. And so that was at the time when Gerald said, we're moving to Raleigh. And I said, I can't think of a better time. So we pulled up, came up here. Half the band stayed in South Carolina. I said, fuck y'all. What's wrong with y'all? Put the weed down. So we came up here and we found two more guys. We had a couple of little stand-ins here every once in a while. We made a record. Don Dixon produced it. It did very well on what they used to call the college charts, because back then, that's when college radio was really starting to take off.
Right.
But also during this time, while I was managing Moon Pie, I was also found a local studio called Jag Studio down on Western Boulevard. And I was going into Jag Studio and helping other bands that I'd met up here kind of do recordings, do demos, and make records, you know, small records, not any budget stuff and everything. And at the same time that Moon Pie was kind of, well, when they put the record out, they decided to change the name to the Accelerators. And that's when that first record was released under the Accelerator. So I continued to learn how to make records and stuff like that while managing bands. And I went on to manage a number of different bands. But then I did this record for this speed metal band, and they turned out to be Corrosion of Conformity. And I did Technocracy, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, you're the guy. And I'm like, oh yeah?
Wow.
I'm the guy. How did I get to be the guy? Because this thing is happening.
Right.
Wait, but I'm it's the same thing I was doing with this other band, you know. Yeah, but now you're the guy. So it was, some credibility came my way.
Right.
And as anybody will tell you in this business, you're only as good as your last record, your last big project and stuff. But by doing that, doing other records and stuff, I finally figured out that I did have a talent. And my talent is working with talent. Now it sounds like, yeah, whatever, Dick. But I'm telling you, it takes a special talent to be able to work with special talent. And working through some of the early stars that I've worked with and stuff like that, it taught me a big lesson about, you never underestimate who an artist is, because you never know who that artist is going to be. When we're sitting over at Jag Studio and I'm producing Hootie and the Blowfish, you don't think about them being, this is going to be the biggest fucking band in the world one day. You better think about it like that. But sometimes you say, I'm doing this record with this band. You don't think about them in that way that they become. So there's a respect that you need to give young artists all the time, because you never know who they are. So that's how I got going. I had a couple of good breaks, and then I kept managing bands. Managed a band called Johnny Quest, Corrosion of Conformity, different thing. Managed Craven Melon, which was out of South Carolina. Then when they got dumped off of Mercury Records, like 99, something like that, I said, fuck managing, fuck that shit, you know, because it's kind of like being a head coach. Okay, when the team wins, God, that team is great. When the team loses, dude, we got to fire that fucking coach. Wait, did the coach dribble the ball out of the bounds and when the clock was running down? No. Did the coach play matador defense when the other team scored the winning? But no, it wasn't him. But look at all that fucking talent that he's got to work with. Look at all that fucking talent. If he had been a good fucking manager, that team would have won. So, I mean, that's the way the management game goes, you know. And I just got, and also it's so much of a babysitting thing. I don't want to say babysitting, but it's so much. If I guess I never became the manager where I set the band down and said, look, motherfuckers, you're going to do what I tell you to do. Shut your goddamn mouth and do what I tell you to do. That was not my style, you know. I tried to work with bands, and I tried to work within the confines of whatever it was they were trying to achieve and stuff like that. Yeah. But I guarantee you some of the bands I was working with dribbled the fucking ball out of bounds with this clock running down. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And things did not happen for those bands. There's tons of talent that I have worked with that should have been big. And they can blame that on me if they want to, but they should have been bigger than they were. So.
It's extremely insightful. To me, at least.
Why? Thinking about being a manager?
No.
Not after that story, Dick.
Absolutely not. Well, let's talk about Osceola then. That when you guys established that, was Ian involved in the early stages?
Yeah, well, I mean, Osceola was. I worked at Osceola as a freelance person all the time because, number one, they were one of the only studios in the area that had an automated console. Okay. And I wanted, that was a bigger console than a couple of the, I've worked at Reflection. I've worked at some other big studios and stuff like that. But here in the area, they had a lot of things that I wanted to use. And so I was very familiar with Osceola Studios. It was run by the Reynolds twins back then. I knew those guys, and it was the kind of thing where they knew who I was and stuff. So then the Reynolds brothers sold the studio to Dennis McGill. And at that particular time, I believe Ian was already over there full time. and Dennis hired me to come in and work alongside Ian as well. And so we had an A studio, a B studio, and the B wasn't up quite yet, but we were going to have a B, and we already had a C studio. So there was plenty of work and room for all of us to kind of coexist over there. And Dennis bought that, and we worked over there. Ian and I worked over there, I guess, together from 2001 to 2000. I think he left in 2009 to go to work at Wonderland.
Where I interned at. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did. You interned down there at Manifold. So, but those were great years, and I miss you, Ian, dude. And I know you miss my coffee too. So, so anyway, we just together, we went through those years, that first decade of the 2000 and stuff, and fought a lot of battles with previous ownership and things like that we had to kind of set right, and we turned out some great projects over there. So then Ian went to Manifold, and I stayed at the old location for a while, and then the details of the lease and stuff got so untenable at that location, we had to move. It was just ridiculous. And so there's a building here that's been here forever, been a small recording studio and a big video place. And it used to be called Videophonics. And Rod Abernathy, who is a star himself, guitar player for Arrogance and big gaming composing guy and stuff like that, he had this building over here. And I just called him up. I said, hey, man, you got any extra room over there? We got to move. And he said, well, dude, all I do is do everything in the box. I don't need a big room. Come over here and take the back part of the building. I'll move up front, and we can share it together. So I came over and we took a look at it, and we spent a bunch of money to come over and upfit it. And he moved up in the fronts, and we did a lot of great things to make Osceola what it kind of is today. So, and that's been that way since 2011.
Okay. That was my question.
Yeah. So then about 2 years ago, entered into negotiations with the owners that bought it from Dennis McGill, Reggie Miller and Ice Media. I entered into negotiations with them, and now I'm the full owner. So
interesting.
Yeah. Nobody gives a shit. They just want to know what mic I use on the snare drum. That's all they give them. Anybody watching this far into the interviews, come on, get on the microphones. Get on the microphones.
They're coming up in a second.
Yeah, I'm ready too.
I always save that for the end. It's kind of like the firework, moment. Working with the big names real quick. You elaborated on it a little bit earlier, but any crazy stories real quick that come to mind?
Let's see here.
That you can talk about without, or maybe anonymity.
Let's see here. When Velvet Revolver came.
Right.
That was interesting.
I bet.
Yeah, that was really interesting. They came and they brought their own engineer. I think Ian wound up patching some stuff for them, but they brought their own guy in to do it. In fact, they brought another whole system.
Why were they even there?
They were coming through town. Okay. Here's what they were doing. They were coming through town. They had a deadline to meet on the song that appeared in the.
Ian told me about this. I remember. Yeah, it
was
like
the Fantastic Four movie.
Soundtrack or something.
Yeah. So their people said, "Hey, we got to get this done by a certain date."
Right.
And somebody in their management company knew me through Hootie.
Okay.
And said, well, Dick Hodgin's got a studio in Raleigh, North Carolina. So they called me up and said, hey, man, can we get the studio for a couple of days? And I'm like, sure. He said, we'll just pay in advance. And I said, okay. And I was in the middle of doing the new Confessor record. And he said, look, we'll buy them out for the day. He said, we'll pay them to go. I said, as a local band, said, we will pay them to go away. I'm like, hey guys, y'all want to get paid for getting out of the studio for a couple of days? Sure, sounds good to me. Boom. This is gonna be a great story too. You're gonna love that. So anyway, so we got it all set up. They came in, they had trucks, they roped off the area. It was kind of, it was kind of a deal going on.
Right.
Matt and Duff got there first. They set up all the equipment, and I think basically I think they had a chord progression and a chorus and stuff like that. But they set Duff's big, huge bass rig up in the main room with the drums. And Matt and Duff sat there, and Matt just worked out the stuff, and they would play, and Duff had the frickin' bass so loud it was rattling every rattle in the entire building. It was so fucking big. And so they would work, and then Matt would write some stuff down. They would work, and Matt would write some stuff down. And this is a great story to everybody who wants to make records like the big boys do. After about 45 minutes of working on the arrangement and what to do, Matt said, I'm ready to do it. And Duff said, okay, put his guitar down, walked into the control room. Matt cut the drums to the click track.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's the way it was. Two real quick stories. The manager for Velvet Revolver said, just want to tell you, Matt may be a little bit of a dickhead about this. And I'm like, what you mean? Because everything was already set up. They weren't there yet, but everything was already set up. And he said, I'm just telling you, he could possibly walk in, take one look, and say, fuck this. Because we were a small studio. I mean, we're used to being in the biggest studios in the world,
Right.
So we're just a small little studio. And I said, wow, that'll be a bummer. And he said, yeah. I said, I'm just warning you. And I said, well, when's he getting in? He said, well, they just got over to the hotel, so I got to go pick him up. I said, let me go pick him up. And he said, okay. So I went over there, picked up Matt, talked to him, seemed like a regular guy, walked into the fucking door, looked at everything. He said, oh, this is cool. That was great. You know who said, fuck this? The singer.
Scott
said, fuck.
Oh,
I'll do my vocals. He said, I'll do my vocals in LA. He said, I'll do my vocals in LA.
Oh my God.
So Duff was having a good time. And I got some pictures of him from around the studio. So Saul, DBA Slash.
Right.
Okay. I had to go pick him up. So went over there, and first thing he said when I picked him up at the hotel, he got in the car, he said, what did Matt say? I said, Matt loved it. He said, oh, good. He said, good. And Ian was back at the studio, and he was patching this guy in, and the guy wanted something odd. It's some weird fucking thing that didn't make shit for beans difference, Right. Ian was trying to babysit him and everything. So we're walking around and stuff, and Slash is walking around, and he said, hey man, is that TV hooked up? I said, yeah. He said, can I watch my favorite show? And I said, sure, man. What is Slash's favorite show? So I'm going to give you three guesses. What would Slash's favorite show be?
Well, we got to figure out what era this was. I guess this was back like 2090.
No, I'm sorry. 2000.
Maybe
2006 or 2007.
Midday, right? Daytime television, or what was it at night? I don't know.
It was about 7:30 at night when he asked me this.
Okay. Well, in that case, I would say Wheel of Fortune. Okay. I don't know. Jeopardy comes on at 7. Right. Man, I have no idea. I don't know.
Well, neither did I. So, I mean, I'm waiting for bated breath, because, he's only like this big, and everything. So I'm waiting. He's walking around, and he's like, just playing his guitar, just warming up and stuff. And I said, so what is Slash's favorite show? He said, Iron Chef.
Little Gordon Ramsay then.
And golf. And I said, are you a big golfer? He said, I don't play golf. I just like to watch golf. And I'm like, wow, that's really cool. That's really cool. So that was a fun story.
That's hilarious.
Matt and Duff were cool. Let's see what else. Oh, the following day, after it was all over, they played at Walnut Creek, and Chevelle was the opening act. And they said, "Hey, man, y'all come on out and be backstage guests. This was great having y'all and stuff like that." So it turned out that Slash actually did not play. We got the rhythm tracks done, and that was it. And they said, "No, it's time to go. I'm tired. Let's go eat." So he did his tracks in LA as well. But the following day, the guy from the garage next door to the studio came over and he said, "Hey, man, what the hell was going on here yesterday?" And I said, "Oh, we had a band in from out of town and everything." He said, "Who's that asshole walking around dressed up like Slash?" And I said, "Slash." And he said, "Oh, man, why didn't you come and tell me?" I said, "For that reason."
I think Ian told me that story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that night we went out to the show. And they have very strict time limits at Walnut Creek. And I think that 11 o'clock.
Because it's outdoor.
Yeah,
right,
11 o'clock is the
ordinance.
shutoff. And if you go past it, I think it's either a $5,000 or a $10,000 fine.
Big deal for Velvet Revolver.
Big deal for Velvet Revolver is not Guns N' Roses, though. Okay? So they were big at that particular time. I want to say they probably had, what does Walnut Creek hold? 23,000. They probably had a good 12,000 people there. And Chevelle was the opener.
Right.
So we got out there. I took my wife. Ian took his wife, I think. And we were all sitting out there, kind of just. And they had two rooms. They had a backstage. They had a backstage area where everybody was kind of eating and milling around. Then they had a backstage area where the band went. You didn't go in there.
Right.
Okay, not the actual dressing room, but another area. So I'm looking around and like everybody's like grumpy, and I'm like, "Hey, man!" And I talked to the tour manager. I said, "What's up?" He said, "Scott."
Right.
I said, "Scott." He said, "Yeah." I said, "What's up?" He said, "He's not here." I said, "Oh." And they were supposed to go on at 9:45. Chevelle went on at 8 and was playing 30 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, 8 to 8:30 was Chevelle.
That's a long in between time.
Well, no, 15 minutes. They were supposed to go on at. I'm sorry, 9 to 9:30. Then they were supposed to go on at 9:45. They were supposed to do a 75-minute set. So he was not there. Chevelle did their set. Scott was not there. Wait. And man, let me tell you something. It started getting tight backstage. And you could see on the looks on Duff's and Matt's faces that they were fucking pissed. And tour manager came cruising back through and I said, "Man, does this happen a lot?" He said, "Oh, yeah." I said, "Dang." At 10:30, 10:20, Scott showed up with a bunch of crazy people. And it was like they were just partying. They just walked in, they were just partying and everything. And everybody except Scott and his party had this glare on their face. And so he said, "Okay, he's here. Let's go."
Right.
They went out and they started immediately. And I said, "Man," I said, "you lucked out that he showed up?" He said, "Yeah, some nights he hasn't." And I'm like, "No fucking way." He said, "Oh, yeah." He said, "On more than one occasion, he just didn't even show up." I'm like, dang. how do you, with all these people and all these, how do you deal with that? He said, there's nothing I can do about it. I can't make it happen. So they went out there on stage, and with 30 minutes left, people been yelling and screaming for them, long wait in between the opener. And let me tell you something, man. The lights came up. Scott Weiland hit that fucking stage, and he was a motherfucking rock god. And everything was forgiven just like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So all that surrounding shit, all that stuff, all that shit, dude, when those lights fucking came up, nobody gave a flying fuck about any of that shit, because they were fucking rock gods. It was amazing.
Did they play a full set?
Yeah, they paid the fine. I don't know about a full set. I want to say they probably played an hour.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's testament to what we're talking about why do people want to go to concerts? Because that's what they're fucking looking for. They're looking for that thing that they can't see somewhere else. I forgot who it was said, man, nobody wants to see the boy next door. They want to see a fucking alien up there. And Scott Weiland was a fucking rock god, dude. It was amazing.
I actually got to see him with STP
here when they were at the
Greensboro back in like 2000
It was a great show.
10 maybe.
Yeah. Great show.
And at the time I was still in high school. So I didn't know much about STP, except I was an underclassman, and my upperclassmen friends got me turned on to them. And I don't know what happened. Somehow they were coming through, and I was like, all right, I'll go check it out. I didn't realize after a decade later, and now that he's gone, how lucky I was to see him.
Right.
And they were pushing whatever record it was at the time. They didn't play much stuff off of Core because that was obviously the 90s, but I didn't know all the songs, but it was, it was incredible.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was a good story when those guys came to town. I mean, I've worked with Clay Aiken a bunch. I'm not going to tell any of those stories. Those are kind of interesting, but Erykah Badu was a cool story. She came to town and she was in town for the women's empowerment thing at the PNC, and she was the featured artist, and she came over here and she dropped the guest appearance. She dropped the feature on Janelle Monáe's Queen song, which was, if you know Janelle Monáe, that's one of her big breakout hits and everything. She was great. She could, when Erykah Badu is tired of doing music, I guarantee you she can do stand-up, because she's some funny ass shit, dude. I mean, it's just, because you never know when you're do what I do, and you're, all of a sudden you've got a big star that you're working with. You shut your mouth and do your job. You don't know them. They don't know you. You're not trying to buddy with them. You shut your mouth and do your job and see how it goes.
Right.
And dude, she was just a riot. Kept trying to get me to burn incense in the control room. And I said, no, we can't burn anything in here. It gets on the equipment. She said, ain't nobody going to know. And I said, bitch, I'm going to know. I'm going to know. So she was funny. Big Daddy Kane is great. Big Daddy Kane came in and did some really cool things. They were doing illustrated like a cartoon of a bunch of famous people talking about when they met other famous people. And he came in and I mean, he was just running off at the mouth about the first time he met Rick James and the first time he met Madonna. And it was this big, long story for both of them. And then they turned them into cartoons, which was funny. Let's see who else. Leonard Skinner. I mean, that was something that dropped into our laps, like, and this was over at the old building. Got a call. Hey, can we have the studio for the same guy? Hey, can we have the studio for 2 days? I said, yeah, I don't know who you got, but you can have the studio for 2 days. Oh, wait, I forgot. Wait. I have to tell you. So you probably don't know who Confessor is. Okay. That's the band that I had to kick out of the studio.
Okay.
When Velvet Revolver came.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Slash and I, Saul and I were talking backstage.
Saul.
And not backstage, but in the lounge. Saul and I were talking. And he said, man, I heard that you had to boot a band out to take care of this. And I said, yeah. I said, it's okay. They're local guys and everything. He said, who was it? I said, somebody probably you don't know is Confessor. He said, I know Confessor. I know exactly who. Because they were huge. They were a huge metal act.
Okay.
Not here, but abroad and
right.
around and in a cult kind of following. He said, I know Confessor. And I said, wow. I said, dude, those guys are going to be so impressed when I tell them that you know that you knew of him.
Yeah.
Said, oh, man. And he referenced one of their tapes. I forgot which one it was. So he said, they still play in Drop. And I said, oh yeah. He said, tell them it's stupid. And I'm like, I'll be happy with that message to them. So that was all gone. Confessor came back in, set back up in the studio and everything. We're sitting in there. We're getting going on the record again. And I said, oh, I forgot to tell you guys. Slash said to give you a message. I said, he said to tell y'all that playing in Drop was stupid. And the bass player did not miss a beat. He said, tell him that hat's stupid. Dude, you're doing exactly what I did when he dropped that shit. I could not believe it. He said, tell him that. And dude, he did it with a straight face too. He just tell him that hat's stupid.
That's
awesome.
Great.
That was awesome. So anyway, got called up, said, hey man, can we get the studio for a couple of days? I said, sure. What is it you want to do? He said, we've got a video that was done at a live concert that we need to touch up some vocals on. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we did the deal, got everything squared away. I said, okay, now you can tell me who it is. He said, it's Leonard Skinner. I'm like, wow. So they had been up at Atlantic City and they had done this big, huge 4th of July, a 4th of July concert. Okay.
Right.
And they were so fucked up the night before or whatever, or the week and everything. All of the vocals were basically unusable. I mean, they were just terrible.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, like awful. And so what they did is they recorded everything in Pro Tools. They did all the filming and stuff, got it back to LA. And they said, this shit sucks. We can't use this. Is there any way we can fix this? And somebody else knew that I had the studio there and said, hey, Dick Hodgin, let's call him and see if he can do it. So I said, well, yeah, I said, I can try to do this. I said, I need the mics that they sang on.
Right.
I need the real mics that they actually sang on. We might be able to pull this off. So they brought them. They were wireless mics. And they brought them, and we set it up. And at first, we were going to set them up in a room and put a video monitor up, and play the video, and let them sing. You know what I'm saying? And we had the Pro Tools files from the concert and everything, and it got clunky. They were trying to anticipate too much, and it just wasn't working. Everything. I said, hold on a second. I said, let me just turn this shit. Let me turn the video off. Just let me play the tracks. Y'all fucking sing with yourself at the time that the Three Doors Down guy came out and did two songs with him too. So he had to come in and redo his vocals as well. So we put them in there. As soon as I turned the video off, dude, they locked in on their vocals like they were doing a fucking template. because they were doing a template just about every single night,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And so we left the ad libs, like when they were talking in between songs and stuff like that, we left all of that in.
From the show.
From the show, right.
Right.
And then I took the new vocals and shaped them kind of like a live thing, and lined them up according to the original, make sure they were tight.
What a pain in the ass.
And dude, it was a massive thing, but I guarantee you watch that thing, I challenge anybody to say, hey, that's not quite right. That's not, is that out of sync? That shit was
tight.
Now, 2 days before that, you could have called me up and said, hey man, has Leonard Skinner ever worked with you? And I'd say, nah. You'd be like, how much you want to bet in a week Leonard Skinner is going to be on your discography? And I'd be like, I bet the fucking house, dude. You'd be living in my house right now. So you never know. You never know when shit's going to happen. Another thing, I had a guy called me up, said, hey man, we want to come in and do a thing next Thursday. And it's gonna be all day shutout, security, all that stuff. I said, sure. I'm on this list for people who find recording studios for artists that are on labels, and so they have every studio's name.
Right.
And so, oh, you're gonna be in this town? Okay, well this is the person you should call. So I said, who is it? And said Lindsey Sterling. And I said, fucking A, Lindsey Sterling. That sounds awesome. So it turned out to be a collaboration between Lindsey Sterling and the girl from Echosmith. And they did a cover, a Lindsey Sterling leaning cover of that song, the hit song that they had, Bright. Right? Yeah, Bright. So they came in and they played, Gavi played piano and Lindsey worked on her violin, and then the girl came in and sang. And that's the video. They'd shot a video. They had a 13-person crew video from New York fly in to do it. And it was legit. We got like 3 million views on YouTube on it right now. You can check it out, because about 3 months after that, Gavi, the piano player for Lindsey Sterling, passed away from pancreatic cancer. He had it then, and he got sick right after that. But that was a real interesting kind of cool thing to do with famous people. So, I mean, famous people are fun. Sometimes it's their fame that makes it fun.
Right.
So
real quick before we get to the gear, which is, 2 things real quick. Entrepreneurship in this industry, would love to have a couple of thoughts from you on that. And then the Dream Assassin perspective, if you could tie that in.
Well, as far as entrepreneurship, about whether or not you should do something like this, I mean,
up to you, whichever way you want to take it. Just your experience in the music industry and the merging between entrepreneurship and the art.
Well, just about everything you do in the music industry starts off as being an entrepreneurship. Okay, when you're a band, you're a small business. You learn how to be a small business. Then you find out, oh shit, there's some other stuff to business that I need to take care of. Yep. And then the more you learn, the more you take care of the real business shit. I used to use the analogy of the donut analogy. So you're an artist, okay? You're basically a donut, okay? So now maybe your donut has got like green ice cream shavings on it or something, whatever it is that makes your donut kind of unique. Okay. This is your donut. So the object for you is you got to get that donut in people's mouths so that they can say, oh my God, have you fucking had this? This donut is fucking amazing. And you're like, damn right. I made that donut. Fucking hey, God, this is awesome. Have you had this donut? Have you checked this donut? Have you checked this donut? And then it's like, yeah, man, people dig the donut. Yeah. Well, we've only got 10 left and the kitchen's a mess. Well, I tell you what, let's get us another kitchen. So you get yourself a rehearsal room. Okay. The object is to get yourself in a situation to where you have people hanging out of the door of your donut shop when the motherfuckers from Krispy Kreme drive by. And they're like, hey, what's going on over there? They're selling donuts. No, motherfucker. We sell donuts. So you find out as a small business person, shit, we got to get these in Harris Teeter. We got to get these in the grocery stores. We got to get them. We got to distribute this. We got to get a fucking truck. We got to get some fucking insurance on the goddamn truck. Fuck, we got to get a building. We got to lease the building. We got to get some fucking stuff to make the fucking donut, your records. Okay? You become a seller of a product. What you do in here, this is art. What we do, I like to say what I'm doing is art. Okay? I'm preparing the fucking donut. We're mixing up the recipe to the donut. But as soon as you turn it into a shiny piece of plastic, well, excuse me, as soon as you upload it to be on the Spotify, as soon as you do that, as soon as you turn it into a shiny piece of plastic to sell, that's commerce. Okay? So now you're a small business person and your commerce is to sell your art. Can you see, can you see some big fat fucking cigar smoking gold chain wearing motherfucker talking to Da Vinci saying, I like your stuff. I like your stuff. It's cool. It's really good. We're going to need more green this year, but I like your stuff. It's so much of the selling of the art that people mistakenly lump in with the whole music business. When I think about the best records, the best takes that I've ever done in my life, when magic shit happened and I'm the guy that fucking got to hit the red button, when that shit happened out there, dude, that's motherfucking art. That's not commerce.
Yeah.
Okay? That's when you go, Dad, did you hear that? Dressing it up, putting it in a box, getting it to the fucking stores, making more donuts, having the business be the business of selling the art. That's something different. Okay? So, and unfortunately, there's a lot of romanticism about being a musician, about being an artist, that clouds judgment when it actually comes to doing business. Okay? You're going to have to be drawn up against the rough, unshaven face of reality when it comes to doing business. Did you see That Thing You Do? The movie? Tom Hanks?
No.
Oh, go be ashamed of yourself right now. Absolutely go be ashamed of yourself right now if you've not seen That Thing You Do. You're going to watch that tonight and you're going to call me tomorrow and say, I am so ashamed of myself that I only saw that last night. There's some great metaphors in there about the music business as a whole and being an artist and what it's all about and stuff like that. So the Dream Assassin thing came from when I was on a panel at South by Southwest. I think it was South by Southwest or Atlantic Music Festival or something, because I used to do panels as a manager and as a producer.
Right.
So, and I think this was like maybe a manager panel or something like that. But we were sitting on the panel, me, Rusty Harmon from Hootie and the Blowfish, a couple of other well-known managers and stuff. And so I'm not the moderator. I'm just on the panel and stuff. And there's probably 400 kids sitting out there. Okay. And they're all jacked up. They're at the music conference and they're going to get signed, motherfucker. We're going to get signed. We're going to be fucking rich. And so we're in there talking and everybody's talking about the music business and stuff like that. And I thought it was funny because I said, yeah, I said, if it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't have jobs. And Rusty Harmon said, no, if it wasn't for them, we'd have to get jobs, which I thought was funny. But we got around to something or another, and I got around, I was talking about something. I said, I've got some bad news for all of you. Everybody in here is not going to be a rock star. And dude, the air in the room just went. And everybody looked at me like, and the moderator, I forgot who I think it was Tom Simon, says, moderator said, well, now that we've heard from the Dream Assassin, and he just whipped that out. And then from then on, people were like, yeah, you're the Dream Assassin, you're the Dream Assassin. And then it kind of, the myth builds and stuff like that. But one of the things I'd like to pride myself on is, I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you. I mean, it doesn't do me any good to pat you on the back and tell you how fucking great you're doing when you're not doing so fucking great, because you're going to walk out of here. I mean, I was quoted in the magazine article one time. I said, if I let people do what the fuck when they came in here, then they would leave with what the fuck. Okay. So my job is to try to help you not just do what the fuck, to be better at what you is. My job is to challenge you. My job is to tell you, no, that's really not that good, dude. Come on, you can do better. I mean, it's a kind of a double-edged, it's a thin line that you walk between insulting somebody when they're doing something so dear to their own heart. But I've sent motherfucking singers home and said, why'd you come today?
Right.
Even when they were in good voice.
Right.
I said, why did you come here today? I came here to sing my vocal tracks. Yeah, well, you're not doing it. So I try my best to be straight with people and tell the truth. And hey, everybody except the guitar player wants the truth, right?
Did you ever hear the one about how many guitar players does it take to screw in a light bulb?
I'm sure, probably.
It just
one to screw it in, and the rest of them to sit around saying, I can do that, but faster.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Well, we'll get into gear real quick. I call this the shootout round. I'll say a piece of gear. You just fire back the first word or phrase that comes to mind.
Okay, so I watched this with Ian. I watched this on Ian's thing. So I'm going to go ahead and just say whatever Ian said.
Okay. Are we done?
Well, no, because it's unfair. Okay, it's unfair that Ian has every frickin' thing that you could want. So what you should say with all of you should say, of what pieces of gear are your favorite that you actually have? Because I can sit there and say, well, I'll take all of Ian's shit. Well, most of it. I mean, I'll take all of Ian's shit. So.
But you do have the tape machine.
I got some good shit.
You got some good shit.
Oh, yeah. Ian does not have that. And he
covets no tape at
every day. Every day, Ian wakes up and he's in there brushing his teeth saying, God damn dick. Fucking Studer. Fuck, I don't have a Studer.
Oh, shit.
But I'll transfer some stuff to Studer for you, buddy. Okay. I'll run it to half inch. Whatever.
Half inch.
He's one of my beloved friends from evermore, man. So.
Oh, man, my face hurts. Well, the first one is tape.
Tape. Right. Tape. I think some of your other people are talking about some of the tape emulators.
Probably.
I'll have tape, please.
Yeah.
When I upgraded the last big upgrade I got a brand new computer and all the extra the upgraded hardware and stuff, the new converters and shit from Sweetwater. The guy was trying to sell me on that was it Heat or whatever it is? Is it something in Pro Tools? It's a tape emulator. And I just said, dude, why would I want a tape emulator? He said, make it sound like tape. I said, you mean like my tape? You mean make it sound like my tape or make it sound tape? Because I've got the fucking tape. So,
Pro Tools.
that's what I learned on.
Yeah, same.
So, I mean, I work with a ton of hip hop guys. I work with a ton of home studio guys and stuff. So everybody's bringing stuff in that's a little different. You know,
Right.
they're bringing in what Acid and Logic Pro and whatever, all the other things. They're all do the same thing. Okay, it's just bells and whistles, and it's kind of like driving somebody else's car. You know, oh, here's the windshield wipers over here. You know, I mean, they're all doing kind of the same thing. But I guarantee you, I mean, I've been on Pro Tools since 2001. Okay, I am not going to spend one fucking second of my life learning any other DAW than what I already have mastered. And when I say master, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff in Pro Tools that other people like beat makers and classic orchestrational people and stuff use that I don't use, that I would get kind of, you know, oh, I didn't know I could do that.
Right.
You know, that kind of stuff, because I'm just not using that. So I figure I know probably 90, 95% of what it can do, you know. And then the rest of it is just spending your 100,000 hours on mastering it or having it master you. So,
right.
Yeah.
Electric guitar.
You think it's going to make a comeback? Did he say that out loud?
Listen, you know what? Let me tell you something. 3 years ago, I probably would have cried like a little bitch. But now, that's a very valid statement and question.
Yeah. There's still people who do rock music. There's still people who lean on the electric guitar. I want to say that a lot more people now are starting to learn how to do a lot of different stuff with the electric guitar, with the use of pedals and sequence things, and especially loopers. Loopers, man, love the loopers. Those the ones who do it and do it well. Andy Lyle Hall is one of my favorite guys, and dude, he sits up there and he beatboxes a 16 bar riff. Then he comes back and he dials all the treble off of his guitar, and he does like a little bass line riff, and then he sits there and he does a rhythmic riff on top of that, and then he sits there and does a couple of background vocal riffs. Now he's got a whole fucking band of riff playing behind him, and he just solos and shit and sings, and it's cool as shit. The other thing is that there's so many new boxes that come out that can do keys and orchestrational shit and stuff like that, and the people who aren't sitting in their own pile of poop saying, now I want it to be in my Marshall and shit like that, and they're actually, you know, experimenting with what they can do with the electric guitar. They're moving out into this new world, and they're using the electric guitar to go to this new world. You know, hey, remember when the electric guitar first came around, only the hep cats dug it. The rest of those motherfuckers said, that's some bullshit. Turn that thing off. You know, why would you ever want to make it louder like that? That's stupid.
It's true. Acoustic guitar
must be well played. And when I'm talking to an electric guitar player and I say, hey man, you know, some acoustic might be nice on this. And they say, yeah, you could be right. And I said, and I'd say, can you play an acoustic? And they say, oh yeah, sure. Have you got one? You don't have an acoustic? No. Let me get someone to play that for you. Same thing with a piano player. Hey man, some Hammond would sound good on this. Hey, you're right. Have you got a Hammond? I do. Can you play a Hammond? Sure, I can play a piano. Let me get you a Hammond player. They can play that Hammond for you. So
Bass.
must be played well.
Yeah.
What not to play.
Yeah.
What not to play. I've had, I mean, you know, I had a guy one time, a guy in an old soul band, tell me, said, you can have as many strings on that bass as you want, ain't but two of them going to make you any money. He was right. So what happens is we find way too often bass players playing the guitar player's part on the bass. So I try to scratch that stuff out as soon as possible, find out if that bass player really is playing bass. And, you know, there's a couple of odd challenges that I will put in front of them. Like, why are you looking at the guitar player instead of the drummer? You're supposed to be playing with him, not him. You know? And I've had bass players say, man, God, it sounds like you just want me to play doom, 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 doom. I'm like, now you get
Yeah.
Now you're the bass player.
So brutal.
But
when
you find somebody that really knows how to play the bass instrument, and I'm talking about primarily electric bass, because upright bass and even acoustic bass, jumbo acoustic bass and stuff like that, all of those kind of dynamics are a little bit different. Right. But knowing what the bass player is supposed to be playing is where most of the bass players run afoul. So, and I mean, I've had bass players that were just really fucking good as shit and who could do some unbelievable stuff with the bass, and I just sit there and go, yeah, that sounds great. That sounds awesome. Can you do some more of that?
Organ.
Hammond C3. I have one. Yeah. It's not mine. It's Dennis McGill's, but I got it here. Dennis can come over and play it anytime he wants to. But it's the pancake syrup of rock and roll. It's the pancake syrup of music in general. It glues everything together. It's so dynamic, and it's almost in a weird way like pedal steel. It's kind of like as soon as you hear pedal steel by itself, as soon as you hear pedal steel, you say, "Oh shit, I like that. That's I like that. Ooh, and you can pick it fast too. That's kind of nice. That's awesome. I like that." And it's kind of like as soon as you put it on your song, you say, "Hey, that's cool." Well, Hammond organ is the same way. You put Hammond organ. Who doesn't want more pancake syrup?
Right.
Fucking pancake syrup. Slather it on there. Then, when you find that guy who really knows how to play that Hammond, that's when that shit starts to rattle. And that's an amazing thing. I put Hammond on a lot of stuff. Other keyboards, like, you know, some of the old Voxes and stuff like that are called organs, but have different sounds and stuff like that. Those are great too, but you just have to fit them to the project and fit them to the song itself when you're serving the song, and not just because it sounds cool. Right. So, yeah, Dick Hodgin, the lover of cool sounds, has gotten Dick Hodgin, the producer, in trouble many times. So you have to be careful about that shit.
If the Hammond is the syrup, what's the butter?
If the Hammond is the syrup, the butter is the vocal.
I had a feeling you would say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're getting down to the nitty gritty right now. And I'll tell you this, and I've told this story a lot, and I've come at it along a lot of different ways, but in the music world, when you start to figure out what it is that people are drawn to, it's the singer and the song. Okay. You can take the best songs you've ever heard in your life and put that singer there with a piano, or that singer with an acoustic guitar, and play that fucking song. It's still the best fucking song you've ever heard in your life. you know? So when you go back and you start tearing little things apart and nitpicking and shit like that, nobody really gives a shit what that kick drum sounds like. Except the drummer.
Right.
And some other drummer. Nobody, I've never had an A&R guy ever call me up. Hey, Dick, got that fucking thing you sent me yesterday? Oh my God, that voice is amazing. And that fucking song is a slam dunk. But you know, I just didn't like the way you did that snare drum, man. I don't think I'm going to have to pass on these guys. Okay. I didn't like that. I didn't like that extra 400 cycles that you pulled out of that kick drum and the ticky tack thing that the drummer insisted on. I still really like that. So I'm going to pass on those fuckers. But goddamn, that singer's fucking awesome. And that fucking song, I've been singing it for 24 hours. That thing, but fuck you and that goddamn drum sound. Nor have I ever had the same guy called up, hey man, got that fucking tape. I say tape, whatever. Got that download, that Dropbox you sent, whatever, yesterday. And singer's okay. He's all right. Song it's okay. It's not great, everything. But oh my God, that thing you did with the guitar, it's fucking amazing. I'm going to sign them. Nobody gives a shit about that. Except all of us nerds and mechanics and designers and soundscape shapers and sculptors, we care about it. And what we're trying our best to do is to shine the fucking light on that sound, on that song and on that singer. Okay. And when I say singer, I'm talking about vocalists. It could be just as easily be a rapper. Okay.
Right. Find
out how to stay out of the, sorry, hang on a second. Try to stay out of that person's way. And I tell people when I'm making a song for you, dude, I'm going to help you. I'm going to show you some colors. Okay. You're going to draw this picture, but I'm going to show you some colors. And then when we get this painting going, I'm going to tell you the colors that I think are working well together. I'm going to help guide you. You're the one that's going to be actually giving me the art. Okay. And then I'm going to fucking put a frame around it. And then I'm going to hang it on the fucking wall. And guess what? Then I'm going to fucking shine some light on it in a certain way. That's all I'm going to do. That's what I do. So, it's kind of like, nobody gives a shit about anything except the singer and the song, but goddamn, presenting it in the way that lifts and pleases everybody. That's what we're all trying to do. Right?
100%. Man, this is great. Drums
should be played well. I mean, a drummer that can keep time. Love that.
Yeah.
That's one of the hardest things is a drummer that can't keep time or refuses to keep time. A drummer that overplays and stuff. But I mean, people say, oh man, how'd you get that fucking great drum sound? I say, well, first, you start with a great sounding set of drums. And then you get a goddamn killer drummer. And then you put some microphones in the general vicinity of what that cat's doing. There's your fucking great drum sound. I mean, go back and listen to some of the best tracks ever made. They didn't come through the way modern drums sound or meant to be sound or anything like that. But what was played was what counted, So I try to find, the sweet spot of how a drummer swings with the track and try not to let him run out off the road and give him a chance to overplay so that when you bring him back in here after that cut, you just hit play. And then he says, "Oh, you think that's too much? Yeah, maybe. You cut it back a little bit. You know, give them, because I'll tell you something. Playback don't lie.
No.
Playback is the telling tale on everyone. So I don't care how fucking famous you are or how many millions of records you've sold. When I hit that playback, there you is. What you got?"
Yeah.
Also, I mean, I try to educate when bands come in and ask about doing a record and everything. I try to move the drummer towards practicing with the click, staying
Right.
in time. Kenny Aronoff is one of my favorite drummers of all time. He's one of my favorite session cats.
Yeah.
And he's done a lot of different seminars and stuff at records, music stores and stuff. I went and saw him, and one of the things I really dug about him was that he talked about how to swing around the timing but stay within the timing,
Right.
and how to put mustard on certain different things by playing the exact same thing but just slight little changes. And
Yep.
all the drummers were there to see him just burn the house down, and he didn't do that. He talked about timing, swinging, the feel. He has a setup to where he's got all the Pro Tools files of these great records that he's played on, like with John Mellencamp and stuff like that. And so he'll put on one song and he'll say, "This is the first beat that I came up with for the Authority song." And he'll play along with the track, and everybody goes, "Ugh, what the fuck?" That was the first, yeah. So here's the second one. And then here's the one that we landed on. So you talk about working out the beat.
Working out parts.
Yeah. And who the drummer is supposed to be in the picture. Because you know why drummers play so loud, right? And overplay all the time. They're sitting back there, they're sitting down, no chicks can see them. And they're like, "Fuck, ain't nobody. Fuck, nobody's looking at me." They're looking at me now, motherfucker. So, I love you, drummers. I love you.
Thank you. Vocal mic.
A vocal mic. Well, all mics. All mics are like lenses of a camera.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Sometimes you want the M149 sheet of freshly polished glass where there's absolutely zero distortion. Okay. Sometimes you want that. Hey, sometimes you want that fucking iPhone camera. I mean, I what I try to do is I try to listen to somebody sing, and if I don't feel like, okay, this is it, if I don't nail it right away, I'll put up a couple of different mics and see which camera likes that voice
right
the best.
Right.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, ooh, you sing really loud and nasally. Let's take that away. Let's try this. So, because I do very little EQing going down. I don't like to EQ going down.
Same.
If something's not right, it's what's coming out of that person's mouth. It's where the microphone is,
or the chain.
Yeah. Right. EQ is nothing but the little butter knife that you should touch up your icing with later. To me, I mean, this is just the way I look at it. So, if I don't like what it sounds like going down, I'm probably going to move a mic or change a mic or pull that person out into a bigger room, get that person to stand back, move forward, whatever it is. I'm going to try to manipulate all the other things that are going on to see if I can counteract whatever it is that I don't like. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things about vocals, but those are the most important things. But I'll tell you a good Erykah Badu story. When she was here doing that thing, they sent the beat in, and she came in, and like I say, I don't know her. She don't know me. We're being cool with each other. She said, "Would you mind if I just sat here in the control room and just put me up a 57 and play the beat and put it through kind of like I can rehearse with it so I can work on what I'm doing. So I looped the feature section that she was doing, and the beat's slamming. I mean, go back and listen to that Queen song. The beat is fucking slamming, dude. So I said, sure, I'll do that. So I set her up, and she sat over there, sat in that chair right there. So I set her up, and she's just sitting there, and she's just like writing some stuff down and kind of because she's got a real soft spoken kind of delivery and everything, but she wanted it loud. She wanted the beat banging, and I'm like, oh wow, it's getting loud. And so it started feeding back a little bit here in the control
with a
room.
dynamic.
Like, well, yeah, it's like holy shit. So I said, so I did do a little EQ to keep that, and she said, yeah, that's cool. So she worked on it for probably 30 minutes, something like that. And she said, okay, I'm ready to cut it. And I said, okay, cool. Let's go on out in the booth. And she said, I don't want to go out in the booth. And I'm like, well, the guys in LA, they're expecting me to send them vocals that are, they got done on the good microphone in the booth with the good microphone in the booth. And she said, I don't like the booth. I don't really like being in the booth. She said, can I just do it here? And I'm like, yeah, but remember the part about the guys in LA that are waiting on me to send them the files, and you want me to send them something that you're doing with the fucking beat. Will you wear headphones? No, I don't want to wear headphones. And I'm like, okay. I said, but do you remember about the guys in LA that want the fucking files that sound good on the good microphone? She said, all right, I'll go out there. And I said, okay, cool. I'm not trying to be hard to get along with. I'm just saying. So she goes out there, and I'd been listening to her work the piece up. She goes out there, and she gets on the mic, and she's like turns into a different person. She's doing it kind of the same, but it's kind of like.
But it's not, yeah.
It's not the same. I said, all right, come back in. She sat there on that fucking chair and did that feature on a 57 with the fucking monitors banging. So when people start walking down this microphone and that microphone and this thing costs $10,000 and this $15,000, $20,000, this is got the reflection and blah 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 and all the fucking bells and whistles, I tell that story.
Yep.
Because it didn't make a bit of fucking difference that I was using a 57, because when that woman opened her mouth, God came out of her mouth. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'll give you, let's make this a date. I'll give you the top 10 records on the Billboard chart. We'll take one song off of each record. Top 10 singles. You tell me which microphone those people used. So, and that's not just because I don't have Ian's microphones, because he's got every microphone. But I have some good microphones myself that cost, a considerable. And when people, it makes me still kind of smile when people say, yeah, man, I bought an expensive $300 microphone. And I'm like, cool, that's cute.
Cool. Nice.
Cute. But there's been many times when I took that $5,000 microphone and put it aside and put that $300 SM7 up there.
SM7 has been
good to me, been good to you, been
damn
good to
good
everybody.
to me.
And the story is that Michael Jackson cut Thriller on it.
Right.
So, so there's your cred.
Right.
And I don't know if you keep up with country music, but a bunch of country guys use it all the time. Yeah. I mean, it's the microphone of the week out in Nashburg. So.
Yeah. Room mics.
Rarely use them.
Wow.
Rarely use them.
Wow.
My room is not a big room. So there's not a lot of room to capture. Everything is a small room. So what I've done is I've treated it in such that it has no personality. Okay? It's not dead. It's not live. It has no personality. So that there's the microphones that I use and the selection of microphones that I use in close mic. Now, when I say I don't use room mic, I don't put one up in the corner ceiling and shit like that. I mean, I'll have some microphones off of a drum kit, and sometimes I leave the talk back on.
Right.
if I want a little
Why not?
yeah, want a trashy drum. But the way that I sculpt drums and stuff like that is a little bit different than using a room to be my room. That's why I got Lexicon. That's why I got all these other reverbs in here, is I'll shape it the way I want to. And never once has any fucking person ever said, yeah, God damn, that Lexicon sounds great. Dude, you must have put that fucking room mic about 6 feet through, what, 3 inches? 6 feet 3, 6 feet 8, 6 feet 2? Where'd you put that room mic? That sounds so fucking awesome, dude. Was there a singer? So other people, I mean, dude, if I had Ian's room, seriously, if I had Plimal's room, and Plimal's got a great room too, much more ambience and stuff like that. If I had Plimal's room, I might do more of that kind of stuff. That's just not, I'd rather spend the time on getting the fucking drummer to play right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. EQ.
The butter knife.
The butter knife.
The butter knife of all wedding cakes.
Saturation.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different EQs. I mean, I've got 1073s that I hardly ever use the EQ on. I use the mic pre because it has a beefy. It's beefy, but it's very unforgiving too. Unforgiving. Yep. The Sony mic pre's on the console, the Sony mic pre's are very, very, very clean. They don't have a lot of personality either. They're just clean, kind of transparent mic pre's and stuff. But I don't use a lot of EQ. Now, when I'm mixing in the box, I use the butter knife plenty.
Right.
And I try to I forget, I have a Sonox. That EQ was one of my favorite EQs. I got a bunch of different plugins and stuff like that. But like I say, it's for sculpting. And when you hear something that you don't like, there's a number of different ways that you can go about getting rid of it, whatever it is that you don't like. I mean, you make a recording, you're trying to make a sculpture of an elephant, right? Okay, so you take a big block of rock and you chip away everything that doesn't look like an elephant. So when I'm hearing something and I don't like it, I'm going to chip away at whatever it is that I don't like until it's gone. Hopefully I got an elephant left.
Saturation.
I got tape. God damn it. Dick's got that fucking stew.
Delay.
What?
Delay.
I love delays. I'm an echo whore. I am totally an echo fanboy whore, because it's just so damn cool and can be used in so many, many, many different ways. Unlike its sister, like its sister Reverb, okay?
Right.
Same thing. You can do so much with it. I mean, just pull up a really good reverb and look at all of the fucking things you can do with it. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. Same thing with a delay. That's one of the reasons why I really like for things to be in time, is because timing is everything when you're talking about delay and having that thing happen at the time you want it to happen, even if it's 5 seconds down the road. So I use Echo Boy. Echo Boy is, you have Echo Boy? You have Echo Boy? Okay. So Echo Boy is my favorite delay. Echo Boy and Echo Boy Jr.
Yeah. I've got a lot of outboard gear last year, and are
you using it with your box? I mean, you use it
as a plug-in.
Oh, as a plug. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have the hardware of it.
Right.
But I have the like some of the Lexicon and TC Electronic actual hardware. Life changing.
Oh yeah.
Life changing.
Absolutely. What Lexicon do you have?
It's I'm trying to remember without walking in there. It's just a U rack.
Yeah, so PCN.
I think it's like a MX 200.
MXP. Yeah, MXP.
Yeah.
It's a great unit.
Yeah.
I mean, all of those algorithms are based on the original Lexicon stuff.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
I'm just floored. I'm absolutely floored. And I'll print the damn thing.
Absolutely.
Hell.
Why not?
One and done. Screw it.
If it sounds good,
it's good.
That's right.
That's what Ian told me.
Yep.
You guys are like,
dude, I miss him so much. So
man.
You can cut that out later, but I do miss him so much, man.
Reverb.
Lexicon.
Compression.
Art form.
Piano.
Go back. Compression. Let's talk about compression for a day or so.
We can.
Absolutely. I've been using external compressors since 1976. I've almost got them figured out.
Wow.
Because it is a true art form. And now you have multi-band compressors, which are, my tube tech, it's unbelievable. So, and then a number of different multi-band compressors in the box that are really, really, really good. DSP makes a great one. Other people make them as well. But compression it's like if you're making a really expensive piece of furniture, okay? If you're really a piece of wood of some sort, table or whatever, you use very, very fine, thin layers of lacquer, okay? And you just barely put them on, just little tiny micro thickness of compression of lacquer to make that thing shine at the end. Learning compression is an art form. I have my assistant, who used to be my intern, now my assistant. He sat in here for over a year and watched me use the Manley and the Tube Tech. I have a Shep, which is my favorite vocal compressor. I have an 1176 and stuff. So he's watching me use all this stuff, and it's like, oh, that's great. That's really cool. And so when he got on it and started doing it, I said, hey, careful with that. You'll burn yourself. And he did. He would, man, why does it sound like that? Because you're fucking it up with the compressor. You know? So yeah. I'll tell you another cool, quick story. I had a very famous hip hop artist who brought his LA engineer with him, a young man. And you can tell, when you have a guest engineer, something like that, I mean, you still kind of got to hover around them and you got to patch them up and
right.
ready and everything like that. But you can tell in a minute or so if that person knows what they're doing. The way they get their session up, the way they get their tracks on, what they ask for and stuff like that. So, So this kid was probably, I don't know, 23, 24 years old, maybe. But he was the LA engineer. And we're sitting in here, and he looked down at my rack, and he said, "What are those?" Oh. And I said, "Well, those are my compressors." And he said, "Yeah, I got those in Pro Tools." I said, "No, these are the outboard compressors. These are the real things that you use." Yeah. So he said, "What do you use them for?" And I said, "Well, I use this on the mix bus. I use this on vocal." He said, "Oh, you use that one on the Shep?" And I said, "You use that on vocal?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, put it on the vocal for the guy." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I patched it up for him. He said, "Put it on male vocal 1." And I said, "Okay, there you go." Male vocal 1. So, male vocal 1.
Male vocal 1.
Yep. Not male vocal 2. We're not trying that experimental shit.
No.
I want male vocal.
Not here.
I know. That's exactly.
I have one more for you. It's very important. Pizza.
There's a place in Apex called Salvia's. It's the best pizza anywhere around here.
Haven't heard of it. I'll have to try it out.
Yeah, check it out. Where do you live? Durham?
Jordan Lake, Chapel Hill. Yeah.
Okay. Bumfuck.
Yes. Right next to Space Mountain.
Yep.
All right, so
microphones.
The microphone shootout.
The microphone shootout, yeah.
Let's start with cabinet.
Cabinet?
Yeah, like a Marshall cab or 4x12
like a guitar
or
cabinet?
Yeah.
Generally I use a 57. A lot of times I will take, depending on what kind of volume is coming out of that cabinet, I've used a 414 before. Depending on how that particular guitar player's tone is, I've also used a Shure 55 and a Shure SM7.
Interesting.
Yeah.
55.
Yeah, that's the old timey mic. The old timey.
Oh yeah.
It's basically, it's kind of like a 57 capsule. It's a little tiny bit different. So,
okay.
But it's an interesting mic to put on a guitar amp. It all depends on the volume. It all depends on the volume. So I've actually used a Neumann M149 on a low volume, kind of reverby, kind of clean, real clean sound kind of thing. Yeah.
You ever play around with like a tube mic, just to?
Every once in a while, I'll use a ribbon.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, it all depends on the volume that person plays, or the volume that guitar player lets me set his amp at. Usually not quite as loud as they like it.
Right.
And then I try to use a couple of different mics and see which one likes that particular cabinet. A lot of it has to do with the room that the cabinet is in also. Sometimes you want that big room to where it opens up and you move the mics a little bit further away to capture as much of the room plus the amp as possible. Other times put it in a small room, capture more of an immediate amp sound. The one thing I hate about loud electric guitars is when the paper tearing starts, that paper tearing sound. I hate that. So I'm
3.8K.
Just hate it, and I try to move away from it. I try to get it either volume, gain settings, pedal settings, or whatever. I also use a ton of models because the models sound really good. There's a lot of money that's been put into the development of those models, and you can really make them sound good. Also, the models never have a broken speaker. They never have a short in them. They never have a scratch in the pot.
Right.
So
I've got a Kemper. I've had it for a few years, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I use GTR 3s and Amplitude and a number of different amp models. They all have great things. The other good thing about using a model, I always take a DI on all guitars, bass.
Yep.
Every guitar, I take a DI, a simultaneous DI as well, to do other things sometimes with the image. Like take the amp over here and the DI over here, put a similar model. Maybe over here, I'll automate some vibrato, okay, or some tremolo, or a reverb thing where the regular guitar stays by itself. So you can, the fact that you can change things later is a big advantage over, just the raw guitar sound coming out of the amp. Yeah.
Or you can reamp it entirely if you want.
Absolutely. You can reamp it. You can put it right back out there and
Yeah.
I love this amp sound. We just had a little too much gain on it, or we didn't have enough gain on it.
Right. Right. Yeah. DIing is a great tool.
Yep.
For sure. Acoustic guitar, which I think we might
Acoustic
have already
guitar,
been
I
over.
use a Neumann M149 right in front of it. And I use a little Neumann KM on the tailpiece over to the side. Sometimes I'll use an AKG 414. I have these very special mics, Tracy Corby audio microphones. Not a lot of people have them. They're not made anymore, I don't think. But when I have they're really high-end mics. They're like $5,000 microphone, but they've got a different feel in the high end than like the Neumann does. So it's got a color to it. It's got a treatment to it. So when somebody's got a really high-endy acoustic guitar, like some of the Taylors or Takaminis or something like that, sometimes I'll use the Corby microphone instead of the Neumann, but I always use the little Neumann as a tailpiece mic. And a DI.
Of course.
If it's got one. Yeah, if it's got one.
Yeah, yeah. Snare.
57. I've used a 57, an SM7. For something like jazz and brushes and rods, depending on how that drummer plays, I've actually used a 414 and had great results with it. So people don't usually, use that capsule mic like that. So it's the kind of thing like, why would you use that? Well, it sounds good, and there's not a lot of volume going into it, and it's got a lot of definition into what's actually going on the head of the drum.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah,
I bet. Toms.
421 on the rack. I don't know why anybody would have more than one rack. But if he's got another rack, I got another 421. And I usually use an RE27.
Interesting.
Yeah, instead of the 20. It's got a little bit of high end to it on the floor.
Okay.
Yeah, and those sound great. Overheads, I use the little KMs, the little Neumann KMs. I use an SM81, a Shure SM81 condenser on the hi-hat and on the ride cymbal if I need to mic up the ride cymbal. Usually the overheads take care of it and stuff.
Yeah. When we talked about vocal mic, but anything else you want to touch on?
No, I mean, vocal mics, again, you need to just match that lens to the subject that you're trying to capture. You got to listen to that person sing, listen to their technique, listen to what comes out of their mouth, because remember, what a person hears inside their head is nothing like what comes out of their mouth.
Right.
The sound that you're capturing when it comes out of their mouth is a combination, a result of a plumbing mechanism. Okay, your nasal cavity, your throat, your larynx, your breathing, the way your lungs push air through, your eustachian tubes, how you hear and adjust your vocal, all of that is a big contraption for singers to use. But what comes out of their mouth is what the mics actually get to capture. So yeah, there's a lot of things go into capturing that voice with the right lens, so to speak.
How about synth or, which, I mean, I don't know if you're really going to be, a lot of that's going to be in the box.
A synth?
Yeah, yeah.
Like keyboard synths?
Yeah, but
it depends on. I mean, there are a lot of people who have developed some really cool sounds by using the synth into an amplifier on a stage, and so sometimes you take the raw DI as a safety to see what the actual the origin of the sound is, and then find out what they're doing, because they may be doing something that's really cool. I mean, harp players, harmonica players, they've got a really bitchin' sound coming out of that
yeah.
amp because they've been working on it and they've been working that mic. So I try to grab that, and maybe adjust their microphone and take a DI. I always get a safety on the DI in case I need to add or subtract or do some imaging things too. Same thing with like pedal steel guys. Pedal steel guys have a sound. The pedal steel itself is a cleaner, great sound, but what those good pedal steel players do is they work that amplifier and they get a really cool sound coming out of the amp, and you want to capture those efforts because they've been working on that sound for a while.
What about bass?
Bass, I usually take bass direct. Electric bass, I take direct. The upright bass, depending on the player, I'll use that M149 and a small vocal booth.
Wow.
And man, it captures everything. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Where do you place it?
I place it down near the F hole, down not immediately on where he's plucking, depending on how he's playing and everything, but just over to the right. Depending on the room size, it's going to fill the room with a really nice sound.
Right.
And so you figure eight that and put that thing in there, and maybe a little adjustment on the high pass, something like that. But it sounds really good, and it's got such a clarity to it when they're actually playing it. Electric bass, if guys insist on using their cabinets, I'll use a 421. Sometimes I'll use that RE27.
Right.
So, right in front of the cabinet. Again, that depends on how loud they're pushing the signal through that cabinet, and what the definition is coming out of that cabinet. I also have a D112 that I use. I use a D12 on the kick, by the way, but I use a D112 sometimes on those bass cabinets, and that works out really well.
Yeah, you and I are both in the same kick world, I think. The D112 and kind of like the Audix D6. Right. Those more transient capturing, it's either like Beta 52 camp or D112 Audix D6 camp, and I've always just enjoyed more of that present kick drum in a mix. But that's just me.
And it's also how the guy's going to kick it. I like to get the microphone inside the drum.
Same.
I don't like miking the outside of the drum, unless it's like maybe just a jazz trio or something like that, and I'm not really going for any kind of unusual definition on the kick drum. I like to get it just right inside there. I like to put some stuff in there to kind of dampen the shells a little bit, unless we're doing like a kind of an 80s arena rock kind of thing. And when you get that D12 in there, dude, that's money.
Yeah.
That's money.
Trying to think of anything else. It's like, well, with bass real quick, do you ever experiment with like Sans amp blending?
Oh, I use Sans amp all the time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Sans amp is great. I use Sans amp. I also got a couple of other models that come with the guitar amplifiers, the GTR3 and stuff like that. Those are more preset kind of things that you go to them, you say, oh, that sounds cool, and just click on another one. That sounds cool. That sounds cool. That sounds cool. The Sans amp for bass, I mean, just bring up that SVT model. Just bring that SVT model up, and depending on the player and the guitar, I'm pretty sure there's your good bass sound.
I've got a real SVT 4x10,
oh, really?
The 300 watt head, and I've over the last year, what I'll do is I'll blend an SM7 on the cone far off.
Yep.
And then I'll use a splitter and go into the Sans. And I like it so much, I end up just basically blending them while tracking through an LA2A, kissing it a little bit. And at that point, it's just kind of shaping it to the song or to taste or whatever. Because that Sans amp, that thing is just incredible as far as like mid-range, high end, like, oh my God.
Yeah, I love the Sans amp. And have you got the hardware Sans amp or the
Yeah.
plug-in?
Well,
You
I've
got the
got, I mean,
hardware
I
Sans amp.
started with the plug-in, but I liked it so much. I was like, yeah, I got to get the real thing. So I ended
Yep.
up scoring one on reverb.com a couple, like, I don't know, 2 years ago. And it's just been, oh, it's so much. The plug-in is good. Like,
Oh
it's
yeah.
very good. But the real thing is like, you just turn that knob a little bit and everything just changes.
Well, it's interesting because when bands come in, and they've never worked with you before, okay, they're worried. They're worried. What's my drums going to sound like? What's my bass going to sound? Oh God, is this guy? He's old. I wonder if he knows what I want to do. I don't know if he knows it. So there's a kind of there's a dance you do to gain trust, okay?
Right.
And most bass players say, hey man, I want to bring my amp. And I'm like, okay, you can bring your amp, but generally I go with the model and direct. Number one, I can have him in the room with the drummer. And if he brings his amp, I got to have that amp in another room. So I have to wire that up in another room across the hall and stuff like that because it's big and that 40 cycles runs through the whole building.
Right.
So I really don't want that in my drum kit. So what I do is when I set him up in the headphones and everything, I get him a nice little kind of a drum mix going in his headphone. And then I pop that Sans amp SVT on his guitar and he says, yeah, that's it. That's it right there. What is that?
It's not your rig.
Yeah, it's your rig, dude. It sounds great. That sounds good. I don't even have it on. It's not plugged in. I know it's a new thing. It's wireless. So I just don't know many electric bass guitar players that turn down the SVT.
Right.
You flip that on. Now some of the guys who are going for more of a soulful thing, more of an R&B thing. I mean, there's plenty of Bassman presets and stuff like that you can work on, or you can just shape it like an older Bassman with smaller speakers and everything. Who sat around and got high as a lab rat and said, oh, what if we had a bunch of little speakers to make a bass sound? Like, get 8-10-inch speakers instead of 10-12-inch speakers to make a big bass sound. I don't know, dude. What? And we'll power it with a 58 Chevy short block head. Sounds good. We'll do it tomorrow.
I've got a 68 Bassman head, and that thing is just like, that thing is disgusting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Incredible.
But the problem with the SVT is you may have to actually go somewhere and play it. You would have to carry it.
Right.
So
I've done it before on tour.
Take it for you? You going to take it yourself?
Well, the trailer gets you there.
Stairs.
Right.
2 flights of stairs.
Yeah. It's amusing.
Yeah. The head and the cabinet. So
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. We could be here all day.
Horns, brass. I use a number of different things on brass. Usually it's the 421s.
Right, 421s.
Trumpets. I use 421s. Sometimes I'll use that RE27, depending on how that's got it's got a very, very forgiving area in the upper mids that treats trumpets really well. Sometimes if I'm tracking a group of horns, I'll just put the Neumann out in the room if they're not playing too loud. Brass. Woodwinds, same thing. I'll put that M149 in a group of woodwinds or on a particular woodwind. Sometimes I'll just use an SM7, which works really great as well. Strings, always the M149. Single violin or a string section, I'll use that M149 because I want to capture the presence of all that string stuff. Let's see here. I mean, there's so many other different instruments that I've actually mic'd up and stuff. And what you have to do is you listen to it, and you got to remember that the microphone is someone's ear. Okay. So when you want to place that microphone in the right position and everything, you want to get it down to where you hear what's going on with that, hear the fun part of what's going on with that instrument. And so sometimes, a lot of times placement is everything. Yeah. Where you're putting that mic means just as much as which mic you're picking to use. So, and remember, I'm talking about the mics that I have, not the mics that Ian has. So I get to reserve a chance to re-list some of these if I have Ian mics. I'm talking about the mics that I have that I get to use every day, So it's absolutely, he should blush every day that he looks at his mic cabinet. So
can we get one more one more pan of the tape machine and a nice little bathroom cussing out, teeth brushing?
Absolutely. Look at that. Damn it. It's got a Studer. I got a damn API. Got a big old huge room. Awesome. But 100 people in there. Damn it. He's got a tape machine.
But no tape machine.
But no tape machine. So, I mean, there's very few tape machines left that are actually working, that people use them. Luckily, we have a great tech guy in the area, Jeff Brown from Claire Audio. I don't know if you know Jeff.
I've heard of Jeff, yeah.
But he's the only guy that can work on the Studer. He's, that I know of anywhere in the area, who could actually come in and knows what the cards do and knows how to treat them and knows what it's supposed to do in the first place and little tricks of the trade and stuff like that. So
when did tape really start getting phased out with that? Was that like late 90s?
Well, let's see here. No, actually, it was a little bit before that, because what happened is, back in the tape world, we started off with 4-track, okay, reel to reel, and then somebody said, "Hey, let's design an 8-track head." Okay, so, and of course, this was different head stacks for different sizes of tapes. There was still 2-inch 4-track tape, which is huge. There's 2-inch 8-track, 2-inch 16-track. So, but people were limited by the number of tracks they had on their tape machine. So you had 8 tracks, that was great. Then all of a sudden, oh my God, here's a 16-track 1-inch machine. I can have 16 tracks on 1-inch tape.
Right.
It goes at 30 inches per second. It sounds wonderful. So that was the workhorse for a while when you didn't have a Studer. So you had 16 tracks of really good sounding tape, but you didn't have to spend the $50,000 for a Studer.
Jeez.
2-inch 24-track. Okay, so then something came along called ADATs. You remember what ADATs are? ADATs are little VHS tapes, and the machines themselves are like a VHS recorder, but each one of the machines had 8 tracks of digital recording, and you could link them together.
Daisy chained, yeah.
For a very small amount, not a small amount of money, but not Studer money, a lot of small studios around could have 24 tracks or 32 tracks or 48 tracks. You
Right.
could have a bunch of tracks for not that much money. Now, having those machines sync up and work together, that was the bane of my existence for years and years and years.
Right.
So
well,
when those came along,
there's no color either, right, to the sound.
Huh?
There's no color, like, because it's digital. So even though they were tracks, it's just,
No, it's just shitty. And the converters were kind of shitty,
right.
In the machine. Those were kind of shitty. So a lot of the studios started selling their 16-track 1-inch machines or or 8-track machines and stuff like that, and tape just started to fall by the wayside. Well, digital started taking off, then came working in the box, and so a lot of the tape machines were left behind. I mean, tape is clunky. There was a study done as Mix Magazine a few years back about the extra time involved in doing the same sort of a session on Pro Tools and 2-inch tape. There's no rewind time in Pro Tools. You just put the cursor where you want it. You don't have to search. Everything is just, I mean, it's clunky. It's different. So if you're willing to be able to stand that, then you get the better sound. The best sound on the planet lives in that Studer right there. And you can emulate it all you want. And some of them sound pretty good.
But it's not the same. God damn, that was right.
Hit it. I got all the microphones in the world. I don't even have a chat. So.
Well, this is great. You have anything else you want to? Because we could be here all day. Parallel.
I know we could do another. Yeah, we could do another. Yeah, but I mean that's plenty. And believe me, if you listen to 2 hours of me spewing like that, it's probably the 5th time my wife watched it. So.
I've got one more question for you.
Yep.
That I ask everybody, which is, if you could go back in time to your 15-year-old self, knowing what you know now, what would you tell him?
Skincare, motherfucker. You didn't see that coming, did you?
Oh, this is good.
Skincare. If I was going back to my 15-year-old professional self, one of the things that I probably misstepped on was when I started becoming drawn to being in the studio and working in the studio and recording for real and stuff like that. I probably should have gone to a studio and tried to get an internship. But instead, my thick-headedness, I tried to teach it all to myself and reading and experimenting only when I was in the studio. And so when I was doing management and studio stuff, which I did for many, many years, I probably didn't put in enough hours. I didn't put in as many hours in the studio as I should have. But when I was coming up, there was nobody to open the door. There was nobody to pull the curtain back for me. But I probably didn't do enough to ask around to see if I could be at the studio. Drop your ego at the door. Drop your ego at the door. So ego doesn't get you laid or paid. Maybe
it's good. It's true as hell.
Yeah. So.
Well, thanks so much for your time.
No problem, dude. This was fun. This was great. You got some
great
questions and love the shootout, and that's really cool. You all your interviews have been great with all of these guys. I'm really proud to be a part of that. So.
Well, thank you. You guys have been watching the Jason Damico Show, listening to the Jason Damico Show. If you're on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, one of those streaming platforms, definitely check out Osceola. Give them a like, subscribe, shout out, and it's just
follow me on Twitter.
What's your Twitter account?
Mojigga.
That's great. We'll see you guys on the next one.
All right, buddy. Thanks, man.
Peace.